you believe we've been renewed for a second episode
I can't.
of
Wow.
Strangely Familiar?
It is, it is amazing. The execs loved
All
what
you-
they heard.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it was
All you guys in the comments, the likes in the sections.
Oh, they're huge. It was huge.
Yeah.
It was
We
huge.
should just hijack
Yeah.
and call our fans. Just call our fans the comment section. Just give them shirts. So it's like every time, like every website or whatever has a comment section, it's like, those are our people, for good or bad. Those are our people.
But we want to let you guys know, like, we are not here to sell out. Like, they signed us on for episode 2, but they, you know, they're not going to be plugging in live reads and stuff like that, telling us, you know, what to say and what to do. You know, this is free form.
Yeah. We do have now we have a two episode deal moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 2 and 3 locked up. We did have some technical difficulties in the first episode.
Minor.
I mean, what do you expect? I you know what? I will guarantee we will have technical difficulties in this episode too.
Yeah.
It's growth. It's called growth.
Yeah. You'll
I'm
notice
something new.
If you're watching us, you'll notice my face is better illuminated now. Why? Because
I love that you got new lighting.
It was awkwardly dark compared to Matt's, and so I bought a light from an online vendor that shall go nameless.
Yeah, it's in a jungle somewhere. My face is very white. I can never decide to do like the orange light.
White.
It's so cold. I mean, it's
complexion,
it's dastardly snow outside.
Yeah. You are. You're drastically white.
It's bad. It's bad. Yeah. But yeah, here we are. Technical issues aside, I think we figured it out. Actually, you know what? I know that I needed to do this. So I tossed in some sound effects last episode, and they didn't translate. They didn't get recorded.
Oh, that's weird.
I did learn how to do it for this episode.
Give me a hell yeah!
Heck yeah!
All right, that should record. We're good. We're golden.
Wow. If not,
okay,
then we'll just have to have impersonators, or we'll have to do our own sound effects, which is also fine.
Yeah, I mean, we're guaranteed that third episode at this point, so we can this is our gambling episode.
Absolutely.
You know, episode 1 in any podcast is just from the soul. It's like, you know, just give it that energy. Episode 2 is like, you know, like, oh, what went wrong in the first one? Or what, you know, it's like almost you get too cute with it. Mm-hmm. And we're bound to fuck it up a little bit. But I do want to mention that we have not spoken since the last episode. Like, I know the Strangely Familiar, that's the title. We're in it. Not only are t-shirts ordered, bowling shirts are ordered, and those are way more expensive.
Absolutely. Yeah. But again, it's for the credibility. How do you expect anyone to take you seriously if you're just slinging cotton tees out there? You know?
Yep. And we've not spoken. We didn't regroup after the last episode and like have a casual conversation. This is real. We're not cheating. We're not secretly bonding outside the world. This is the next time we've spoken. Since the last time
that is completely accurate. Other than a couple exchanges of texts. At best, like, we want everything to be authentic, and the only way to do that is to seemingly do a bad job at prep work for this podcast. So like we've kind of figured out how to do this whole podcast thing without needing to put in the effort, because the growth, you know, the show is all about, you know, the genuine flow and the growth of our friendship to come back.
It's about chemistry.
Yeah. And the only way we can do that is to do nothing in prep. Yeah. So you're welcome for any of the technical issues we may face, for any of the awkward moments that you may experience. You're welcome.
So many.
You're welcome.
I thought we flowed pretty well last time, and it's hard. It's hard to make a thing that people listen to or watch, make it flow. And it's also like hard to try to have a relationship with somebody again in front of other people.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Really,
it is so
it's
much
like going to Christmas and just watching somebody.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to meet people.
He hasn't seen Nana in 7 years.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to meet people for the first time and talk to them. And it's a lot easier to talk to people you never stop talking to. This is the hard one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So speaking of technology and kind of the rough edges we had.
Mm-hmm.
We did tease, I think, in the last episode, a little bit about technology, maybe some 90s tech, SNES, Super Nintendo. We wanted to get into that, about maybe some hot tips we wanted to give some folks about how to turn SNES into from a two controller system into a 4-player system. Ultimately,
Incredible.
just to really talk about our gaming. I think one of the foundations of our relationship in middle school was gaming. Super Nintendo was out; it was hot.
Absolutely.
Sleepovers at your house with 4 people. That's right. The 2 of us had 2 other friends. 4 of us in one spot, each with 2 liters of root beer.
Yeah.
Or Mountain W, or
W.
whatever your Wegmans
Well,
had.
right. We're not shelling out A&W money. All right. We're
Yeah.
not rolling in that IBC money.
I remember, what was it, like 59 cents, 49 cents for 2 liters?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, it was go to, you know, there was the protocol for sleepovers at the Worden household. At least it was, you know, go to Wegmans. You're going to pick up your Mountain W, maybe your root beer. Then you're going to go to Wegmans Home Video.
Yeah.
Pick up a couple games, maybe a game in a WWF Coliseum Home Video. You know, maybe we'll watch Royal Rumble 92.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
And then for sustenance, on top of the root beer, what's root beer going to go great with? A sheet pizza from Post Corner Store that's going to run you $9, but it can feed 17 people.
I do want to, I mean, last episode I did mention my mushroom aversion. And it reminded me of a time I was at your house. So our hangout was your basement.
Yeah.
Dope ass basement. Finished basement. I go down there, had a half bath down there. You go out the back door, had a fridge down there, had a collection of very old hats, baseball hats and otherwise. We'd hang out down there. And one day, I remember we were playing poker down there one day, and your dad, great. I'm sure we're gonna relive some great moments in your dad on this pod, but he yelled down the stairs. We were playing poker, and he goes, "Hey, you guys want to order any pizza?" And then I would just I was just being an asshole, honestly. I was like, "Yeah, just get all mushrooms." Just kidding. The pizza comes later, and it's all mushrooms. Everybody's so pissed.
Incredible.
It's not your dad's fault. It's totally
incredible.
My fault. I didn't think he'd really get that. Yeah, he was like full on 2 pizzas. Or maybe, yeah, I think it was 2, but the one was all mushrooms. Nobody wanted it at all. And I was like, okay, well played.
Right.
Well played, sir.
This is the bet I've made. Now I shall lay in it.
Yeah. And didn't need it at all.
Kenny Worden stories, I'm sure, will come flowing in naturally.
Yeah.
But yeah, the basement downstairs was the place to be. We were thrown.
That was the hang.
We were thrown out of the way. Parents are upstairs. Had the sectional couch that was a real popular, ish in the 90s. So that was the sleeping quarters or on the carpeted ground. But yeah, hook up the video games, have the soda, have the pizza.
It was hook up the video games. It was like you got to unplug the cable box and then like plug the Super Nintendo into that thing, screw it in.
Yeah, the RF cable,
like
I think, was the part that screwed into your cable.
Yep.
Into the auxiliary. So yeah, I mean, flip on channel 3, maybe channel 4. Depends what kind of person you are. I think it speaks a lot about the person of whether or not you wanted to go to channel 3 or 4. And you let it ride. Like I said, Super NES, Sega, and then eventually, upgrading to N64 and really letting the times explode. So
yeah. And that was like, the 4 of us would play. Super Bomberman was the game. So it was like, hey, you need this attachment. You got to plug it into the Super Nintendo. You can turn 2 controllers into 4. All 4 of us could play at the same time. It was a big deal. Games for me were important, I think, because I didn't necessarily have Nintendo growing up. I think we got my neighbor had it. He taught me some of it. Like I had another friend. You call him, his name was Jeff Farley. You call him Jeff Farelli. But we would play Tecmo Super Bowl at his house. I would love going over there to play that. And I didn't get video games till a little bit later. I mean, later in life when I was not late for the earth, but like late for being 8 or 9 in elementary school or something like that. And so So it was always like crucial for me to get that video game time because I was bad. I was really bad at video games. And I'm so good now as an almost 40-year-old man. Being so good
My
at video games is such a pin in
as
my
an
cap.
8-year-old playing
Expression.
8-year-olds, I was
Yeah.
terrible. But as a 40-year-old
I was
playing
so bad. It
8-year-olds,
was
oh man, I am slightly better.
yeah, but it was so cool. I don't know what gravitated me towards that, like gaming. I mean, I just love games now anyway. Board games, anything like that. I just love maybe the competitiveness. I love trying to figure something out, but just having that. I think it was because everybody else. It was so ubiquitous in the late '80s, early '90s. Like commercials for it, everything was like Nintendo. The first time I ever saw Mario, first time thing I saw was Mario 3 probably, and it blew my mind. I was like, this is I need to be in there.
Yeah, because it seems like today, video games have followed us. By that I mean like the consoles are more still geared towards our age group. I don't think PlayStation's banking on parents buying their 12-year-olds a PlayStation 5 because those kids are playing cell phone games. Like, so I never lost touch. I mean, I've always had the systems, but I never got into PC gaming. But yeah, I mean, I had two older brothers, so we always had the games because that was just something
Oh,
easy that parents could
yep.
occupy anyone with. But in all fairness, I probably was playing the games most often.
That was a major element of our relationship too, was you having two older brothers. So like when it came to like games, movies, music, I mean, this is like we can expand upon it. I mean, we got so much to delve into. This feels like moderate therapy, like free therapy, honestly. Like trying to like as
Yeah,
I try to remember all this stuff, but like getting into music. Like first time I ever heard Pantera or something like that, or
yeah,
Ozzy was something like
hundred
that was
percent.
through older brothers. You had that.
100%. I
You
did.
had the older brother
I had
influence.
a
Yeah.
gateway influence to music. I'm not sure I really started expanding into my own with music until I started dabbling elsewhere in high school, into the punk scene, ska, stuff like that. That was actually kind of my first foray into branching off. But my hard rock, metal, all of that stuff, I mean, 100% came from most specifically my oldest brother, Brian. And, full circle, he and I went to a Metallica concert last year in Buffalo. And so that was really incredible to share that with him. The only other Metallica concert I went to was actually 2003 with you
2003
in
Toronto
Toronto.
Skydome.
So, dude,
Hell
how's
yeah.
this for weird? So
Lincoln Park was there too.
that was after 20 that was the 20th anniversary of Metallica, basically, because the 20th anniversary since Kill 'Em All, because Kill 'Em All was
Yeah,
83.
2003. Holy shit.
And then I
Yeah.
went last year, which was 19 years after that. So I literally saw Metallica at their midway point and then most recently on their recent tour. So I have to wait at least
That's
19 years to see them again.
yeah. I've seen them probably like 8 times now, but with you was the first time. I've seen them a few more times since then. And that was what a great trip. I still reference that. I mean, because it was my first Metallica show, Sky being in Toronto, but it was like the only time I ever saw Lincoln Park. And whatever you think about Lincoln
Yeah.
Park, they were huge when we were in high school into early college years. And then that's still one of my hot YouTube searches. Like I go through these different cycles of like being up way too late and getting into YouTube deep dives, and one
Oh,
of
yeah.
them
YouTube
still is
Vortex.
like
Who doesn't fall into
Lincoln
those?
Park Live or Chester Bennington or something like that. Yeah, what's give me a hot YouTube vortex? What do you dip
Ooh.
into? I mean, you might start with something else. Start with something. I mean, is it?
Uh,
Do you go nostalgia? Do you go for live music, wrestling?
I was just going to say, I'll make
Uh,
the guiltiest one is wrestling stuff. Like, and
dude, it's
and
so
man,
good. Once you look it up
dude,
once, it's gonna be there
those
forever.
create the worst downward spirals because it'll be like
Mm-hmm.
top 10 finishers from the Attitude Era, and you're like, oh, sweet, I remember this, and then it's like top 10
Yeah.
finishers of newer guys, and you're like, oh, I don't know who any of these people are. I'm like, what is that move? And then it's like, oh, top 10
Yeah.
theme songs, and you're like, oh, absolutely, like, and there's just top 10s of everything. But then you're just like, all right, show me independent wrestling botched moves where guys are like falling and doing stuff on accident, or tables not breaking, like stuff like that. And you can just literally just
Yeah.
keep watching videos. YouTube is
Botchamanias.
just, oh, Botchamania with Matthew. I mean, Dude, wrestling is one of the easiest things to get caught up in a YouTube vortex.
That reminds me of one of our gaming. I think in the early 2000s, some of our hangouts were with another buddy, Jeff and Jeff, and me. We'd play on GameCube.
Yes.
Like WrestleMania 18 or something.
Yes.
And I remember we played like these triple threat ladder matches. I just remember that. It was impossible to win because everybody would like just fuck with each other and you'd never win. I just remember we'd play like even in my house, like in my parents' house in the living room, and I just remember being such a little bitch all the time about it. Being like, you gotta attack him. You're just totally attacking me with the ladder. You gotta attack him. It's just that's the way wrestling video games are so good about bringing out just your just total patheticness.
Oh, absolutely. like
your total bitchiness.
Yeah. Of just being like, we both lost. Not that we're on the same team, but it's you let him win because you didn't do this 2 minutes ago. And it ruined the flow of everything. And then the worst is that you'd be genuinely upset about it, but the guy who did sabotage the situation is laughing at you because he knows you're upset. So he's mad. The guy who won,
like, yes, Kurt Angle, yes.
The guy who won is almost like staying out of it because he's just like, I don't want to be here. But like,
he's like, I got lucky enough to win.
Right. Yeah. But such a mess. It brought out such good times, but you could get livid at people in video games for either being cheap or ruining something or like there's like an unwritten code and integrity that we all should be abiding by, like the unwritten rules of baseball. There's unwritten rules of GameCube.
Let's do a little. I think we sort of have an idea of a regiment or a structure to this in a way, because I definitely need to learn. I mean, I like sharing stories. Honestly, like the sharing stories part makes me remember stuff. I don't know. Like, I think it's crazy because even this week after doing the first episode, it like really inspired me to like think about the past or to like consider what I want to know about you. So relationships, I guess that's what you do. You consider other people. So I'm learning.
Yeah, I probably could use a healthy dose of that.
Let me. I think a couple things we want to do is maybe ask each other a question. Mm-hmm. Maybe give a story. We got a couple other things, but kind of one thing I wanted to know. Let's go. Let's in an interest of getting into the exercise and maybe figuring it out. I kind of want to know if you were going to start a business today, Mr. Jeff. What business would you start? Not like something like, I would start Microsoft 2 and just be rich. It'd be like more like considering. I want to consider more like basically like what you've done, like your skill set, what you're interested in, what you think you're good at. I mean, if you were really, honestly, like earnestly, if you were going to start a business, like let's say you had $1 million, you had to start a business, what would you do? I'm very curious to know. And would it be passion? Would it be based on profitability?
Right. It's a good question.
Based on the people involved, a location? It's a large question. I do not have $1 million, by the way. This isn't real. Just.
Oh, I thought this was like my application.
No.
Those Sure Thing Lotto tickets have yet to cash in.
I did cash in on $30 in scratch offs today. So
that's sick. Unfortunately, he spent $250 to win that 30. That's the caveat.
I'm going to dump it all into one prop bet on the Super Bowl.
There you go. Well,
for sure.
All right. So a business that I could start. I mean, it's entrepreneurship is kind of, I've always thought about it. I mean, who hasn't thought about starting up a business of some way, shape, or form? But there is, I don't know how prone I would be.
AKA leaving your job and doing your own thing.
Yeah, exactly. But really the only thing I've ever thought about trying to do would be something of like a bar or restaurant. Now, when I say a bar or a restaurant, not talking about like our hometown where actually I should put a caveat to that. In the last 5 years, I've heard a lot of better things about some establishments that have opened up and really, been a positive spin on the community.
Some craft breweries.
Exactly. Craft breweries, things of that nature.
Trying. There's effort. Yeah.
Yeah. thinking outside the box and stuff. That's more than I can say for a lot of the places that Auburn was cluttered with, which was just shithole drinking garbage establishments that bring out garbage people. They're still there. But no, I mean, I've always wanted something where service has mattered, where like people go there. Like a restaurant has always been my thought, because I would always find it like interesting to be able to hire the people of, listen, I don't care that you've never been a server. I don't care that you've never been a bartender. I'm caring about the personality that you bring, and can you uphold what I want this like restaurant or bar to be. And I've always wanted to have a place that people go because of literally the experience and, you know, how they feel when they go in, as opposed to focusing on just what's on the menu and stuff like that. I want people to be like, yo, this place is so nice. The service is always fantastic, as far as like their conversationalists, the servers, the bartenders, like it's always a positive place to be.
Dude, you've thought about that. I can tell.
And like, it's, yeah, like it would just be like there's never, you know, like we'd have sports available and stuff, but there's no, like, as soon as someone like, you know, gets out of hand, it's like, no, you're not welcome here. Like, that's not what this place is about. And it's just, it'd be nice to have that, because I've always thought like it'd be great to have like a home bar restaurant to always be able to frequent on my own. And I don't have that. Yeah. And I feel like
you want regulars basically.
Yeah. But also like, I want regulars would be nice, but it's also just to kind of like give people that option. Like, imagine people coming into town and not being familiar with it and being able to experience a place like that. Like places that people go like, okay, well, where would you recommend it? And people are like, I recommend this place.
Yeah, get that hot wreck.
Because like, it's just good people, because the service industry is, it's shit on. And also there's a lot of shitty people in the service industry that shouldn't be in it. Like, I'll say it, like, I'm tired of having service that's just people that are effing miserable, that don't want to be there. And yes, I've always heard the concepts of, oh, we don't know what they're going through. Okay, well, leave it at home. Like, you can't bring that to work. And so I want a place where you're guaranteed to have good service. And that's what I would do.
That's such a hard thing, like, too, because I mean, I've known a lot of people in service industry and stuff, and it's like seeing like shitty after shitty person, and then all of a sudden, I mean, it really takes a good person to like make the day better for that. But I mean, I mean, I can empathize with that, like wanting to have like good service kind of a thing. One of my, I mean, not that I didn't like necessarily ask you this because I wanted to prompt something, but my like now, just because you're saying this, my thing was like, I wanted to start like a pinball arcade bar, but like a spot. So there was one in Austin when I lived there where, you know, whatever, it was like 150 pinball machines.
You might have mentioned this to me before, the one in Austin.
Yeah. But you would like, I want somebody to go be on the floor.
Did you drink in the parking lot?
I want that fucking service. You can drink in the parking lot.
Okay, then yeah.
Okay, all right, you know the most important things about me. All right, yeah. That's all right, that's great. But you'd go in there and like all of a sudden like a machine would be broken, or like you'd put quarters in and be done, and there'd be nobody to find. And I'd be like, this place would be so great if there were people here to help. It's hard to like generate like passion for that, but there are. I can't believe like, yeah, you're into that. You're into customer. It's such a stupid thing to say, but like, I'm not like passionate about customer service. So I'm like, it's so rewarding to like in this pinball bar that I'm gonna make. I would see somebody lose quarters, and I'd be like, "Hey, here's a free game. Here's more quarters. I've been walking around. I see you. Here's how you play.
You got the old arcade belt.
I want you to learn, so you keep coming back.
Yep, you got the arcade belt.
Like, let's go. I want you to love being here. You know, I want you to be here and want to play these games.
Right. And it doesn't have to be like a stem of nostalgia. Like you said, it's just someone there that when something small goes wrong at the pinball place. So how many things can go wrong at the pinball place? But when something does, it's just like, oh, no sweat. Or right. It's given the amount of overhead that you would need at a pinball place. Okay. Hey, this thing stole my $1. All right, friend. Well, here's $3 to make up for it. Why? Because it doesn't matter if you pay $3 worth, because it's pinball.
Are we starting a business right now?
There's no overhead.
Are we starting a sports bar?
Yes, we are.
All right, what's your
all right, put in the comments if you have if you have someone that has money that can give us money for this venture in the comment section.
Comment section, like
tag a friend who has lots of money and is looking for their next business venture.
What's your, if you had to pick one dish at there that has to be the one that everybody's like, oh, I heard about this. Like I saw it on Yelp or whatever, Google.
What blah, blah, one blah. Dish?
Like I gotta have it.
Like
your best dish. Like I heard in like the Philly region, this is the best of this dish. What would you want it to
like
be?
A food item? You're saying?
Yeah.
Ooh, at the restaurant?
Just a porcelain dish.
Right, yeah. Well, I really like the china from this place. Dish. Yeah. I love this teapot.
Yeah.
I would say the item would just, you know what? I honestly think it would be like the perfect bacon burger, or maybe even just a plain cheeseburger. Like listen,
like a good one.
Yeah. Like everyone, especially today, everyone can do the Western burger. Like you can always put all the random shit you want on the burger, but a good burger place is going to have it where I can get a burger with cheese and maybe lettuce and onion. And if that burger tastes amazing, then I'm in, because then I know their burgers are good and they're not just dressing up a shit burger with different cool toppings, if that makes sense. So I want the good plain burger.
If you have the best burger in town, you're golden. All you gotta do is cook it the right way, baby. Just cook it the right way, people. Like, how many times do you go to a place and it's like, I usually order it medium rare, which I'm fine to have, but just because I know that it's going to be a little more done. But I don't know how many times in the last year I've been to a place like medium rare, just like well done.
Every time. And it's, I don't know. And they don't, it sounds so stupid, but it's like, they don't care. So like, you're not going to send it back. Like you're just, it's how do you want it done? You honestly want to say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say. I think Red Robin says like pink or no pink. And I'm like, all right, that's probably what you all should say. And at best, it's a 50-50 coin toss at that point.
But let's talk about my burger, huh? Oh, Red Robin. It's sassy.
Terrible.
You know, it's just like, I guess the trick is always like, how do you make people like care about working? It's like, it's weird that like getting paid money isn't enough to make people care anymore. Not that it should. I'm not saying that it should per se, but like sometimes, you know, in a role that I have at my job, you just want to be like, why do I have to do this? Because you get paid money and it's a job and it's not your hobby. It's like, just do it. Like, you're not here for free.
It's tough. There's a balance. Pretend. There's a balance, but at the same point, it's like, find what works for you. And if it's passion, that's great. But if you have a job that's not about your passion, then it's just your job, and that's okay. It can be your money. It's your source of income.
I do a training about customer service to like new hires.
Hey, me too.
I always say that because it's true. And it's like, dude, what the fuck, man? But it's like customer service some days, I'm sorry, it is a job.
Right.
And I always say it's the hardest job. Like, because when you go through like Indeed or you're looking up jobs and it says customer service, I think people are flipping about it. And it's like, oh, customer service, whatever. But it's like the hardest job. I mean, all right, I'm saying that to just a little hyperbole, but it's very hard. It's very difficult. And it is a job. It is work. And some days customer service means it's really an acting job. That's what I tell people. Like, it doesn't say it in the manual, but it's an acting job. Like, you have to do it. You got to perform. You got to pretend like the world around you is okay. That you really care about this. And it's all pretend. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate those insights. I like it. I like the bar with the cheeseburger and the sports and the customer service. Boom.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think you should do it. I think you should quit this podcast and start the restaurant.
Well, this doesn't make us money. This isn't job. So I can't quit this to go do that. That's not how that lines up. But yeah, man. So as far as kind of rolling with things that, you know, with asking a question like that, I'm going to go a little bit more surface with it. So we've kind of dabbled in a little bit of shit that we've done as far as occupations and stuff, but I'll use this term loosely, job is what's been like what's been your crappiest job or like your shittiest way that you've just like decided like, all right, this is going to net me some money. It doesn't have to necessarily involve a W-2. But what's in the last, 20 years, what's the job that you had that you're like, yo, just fuck this job?
Let me say, I'm going to use, so I've had so many jobs in the last, 15 years. I could say like the wine store was shitty because it was like 6 days a week, but also I got to like go to restaurants and like taste wine and like meet cool people. I'll say the shittiest thing just because it was, it can suck a lot is so when I left, working at Westwood's Fine Wine, Beer, and Spirits.
Shout out.
I was going to go on tour with Fair City Fire, the band. And there was like, I don't know, there's got like a 6-month gap before I started a new gig. And so I drove Lyft.
Did you?
I was a Lyft driver.
There it is. Welcome to the new days, man. The rideshare world.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was I mean, the shitty part of it was that it's not guaranteed income.
Right.
So it's like, there'd be some days you just be like, because I'd be like, oh, let me make $60 a day or whatever, or something like that. And I was like, some days I would be done in like 2 hours. Some days it could take 8 hours to get anything. I'd be driving around because Austin's like a big city. You'd expect a lot to be going on. But there was so many Lyft drivers.
So it was cutthroat.
There's like, yeah. It was just so, I mean, and I mean, the good part of it is like, I really got to know the city. I mean, I had lived there already for like over 10 years. No, that wouldn't make sense. Maybe about 8 years, way off. So, but I got to like see like little nooks and crannies of the city, and I was like, this is pretty cool. A lot of good conversations, but then a lot of bad. just like people that are uninteresting. A lot of people that you're just like, you don't want to talk to. I definitely had to drive a guy up to his drug deal, like way out of the city once, and I didn't realize it until I got there. It is like,
what's with the suitcase flying somewhere?
So I drove up. Yeah, I had to drive up the highway, and it like 40 minutes north of the city, and he got out in like an alley, like in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, okay, but he's just saying a bunch of shit like, oh yeah, my brother needs me here. Like, there's this guy here. I gotta pick up. It's like, no, don't worry about it. I'm okay, man. Like, he was reassuring me about questions I wasn't asking.
Sure, naturally, as ones will do.
You can just be quiet. It's cool. What do you want to listen to? That kind of thing. And then I was driving back, and I got another pick, like bing, and I picked it up, and it was him again.
Oh no!
I had to bring him back. I was like, oh no.
So how'd it go?
So I went on. Yeah, for that I went on like the toll road and made it more sure. I was like, this guy doesn't know where I'm going though, like at all. So I took a little bit more liberties with that one.
Oh.
There'd be days where I could be really busy and you could like get surcharges, but if you wanted to like go to the airport to pick somebody up, you had to like get in a queue and like behind like 60 other people. It might take you hours to like get a ride. There was just days like that because there were so many people involved in it.
And this is pre-pandemic.
Plus, you're just driving. I hate driving. No, I was like 20. I think it was like 2018 or something. It was before I worked at the bookstore. It was like in a gap between. So I left, the liquor wine store, did the Fair City Fire tour thing, and then I might even started it before that just for extra money, and then did it for like a few more months. I appreciate it. I would say that. And you know what? To tag along with the customer service thing that we were talking about earlier, I would say that since so many people are like shitty with customer service, like in terms of interacting, like I think a lot of what brings people down from customer, why they hate their jobs is because like strangers can be shitty sometimes, or people can be. And so, how there's like compulsory military service in like other countries, and stuff like that. I think we should have a system where you have to do 1 year of customer service / retail experience. I honestly think that would like make society better. Like whether it's 1 or 2 years, like you have to work in either retail or customer service or a restaurant or something, because you have to know what it feels like to be like in that situation and know how to like talk to somebody, know what it feels like for it to come back. Because I think if people did that, like I think just being in that business for a long time, you're like you can recognize that and you're like you're being a shit today. I
Yeah.
can tell, but I understand what you're going through. So you know what? But it's but I think it's like it's a give and take thing. It's a
I mean,
balance.
it's a
Not that
shame
it'll
that we're
ever
trying
happen.
to tell people like, oh, is there a way that you can not be a piece of shit human?
Yeah.
We're going to actually have to force you into interacting with humans for money for a year in the hopes that it makes you slightly less shitty of a person to experience the world with.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Nailed it.
Classic.
Very passionate right now about recommending something.
Okay. I'd say we roll with it. That was good. That was what I was.
You want to go with that passion?
That,
I was thinking about recommendation. The only reason is because I'm wearing them right now.
okay. What is that?
Slippers. It's a threefold recommendation, but it comes as you get older. Whether if you have the means, 3 things you need in your life that I highly recommend you get. And again, this segment is like doesn't mean that you don't have it, Jeff, or anybody doesn't have it. You might agree with me, but I say slippers, high quality slippers, high quality sheets, high quality toilet paper. These are things I do not fuck with. Like I will spend an extra $2 for the comfort toilet paper. It's gonna take me a month to get through, and I love my butthole. I'm gonna spend $100 on these Birkenstocks because whenever I buy $12 slippers, they're done in like 8 days. And I've had these for like 2 years. They're really comfortable. Sheets, wick away that warmth. All right. Take it away. Don't let me sweat. I need to sleep every night. Those are things I do not compromise on now, maybe at least for the last couple of years. I'm not saying like I've done it since my 20s. That's for sure.
No,
Like, I guess I'm like really passionate about appreciating them now. There's good slippers, good sheets, and good toilet paper. Like, I mean, whatever. To each your own, however you want to live. But these are ways. I mean, I'll pinch pennies elsewhere, but it won't be on my feet, my body, or my butthole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Like those are the things that I care about. I'm very passionate about that. So get yourself slippers. I mean, these I got on sale. These Birkenstocks. I think they were like $150 at one point, but I got them for like 75 or something.
What a find! What a find!
Some kind of shoe store. I walked in. Yeah.
Oh, shoe store. You
to
say?
my feet.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a plot twist.
Yeah. They also sell slippers. I couldn't believe it.
Thanks, M. Night. What a twist.
Yeah, I went in there to browse, and sure enough, yeah. It's nice. It's so nice to kick my shoes off when I get home from work. Put these on, molded to my feet. Just delicious.
Okay.
Just so delicious.
Now, for those of us that are just listening, the Birkenstocks do not have a heel to them. They are full on, old timey.
They're slip-ins. Oh,
slip your foot in forward, not placing it in like a shoe with a heel.
Look at you podcast pro. Second episode, and you're already giving the audio.
Yeah.
Audio cues. I'm thinking this is all visual. But yeah, you slip it in. It doesn't matter what the material is on the outside. It's kind of rough. If you slept on it, you'd have a pink mark on your face in the morning.
Okay. So it looks kind of like almost like is it like a rawhide? Like is it like a leather?
No. It's just I don't even know. It's just it's rough. It looks like a blanket that you washed too many times or something like that. It's that kind of rough.
That sounds exquisite. I can see why.
No, but the inside is comfy. Yeah, the inside's the comfy part. It's basically memory foam.
Okay.
But then the sheets. I sleep on bamboo sheets now. They're not that. I mean, they're like $80, $80 to $100. But like, I'm a hot sleeper. I sweat. Tonight it's gonna be like -14 with the wind chill. I'm gonna sweat.
Okay.
I don't want to.
No.
I just will. Yeah, I just wake up.
Yeah, I mean,
but this like keeps you cool.
Okay, so those are interesting takes. So, fun fact:
do you want to use them?
Fun fact:
do you want hot?
As far as indoor shoe wear, I recently actually have acquired indoor shoes. They are not slip-ins like slippers, but they are like memory foam type style. I wear them indoors. They're called Lamos or Lamos or Lamo, but there's like a tilde over the A. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I am for it. Yes. Indoor shoes are a must. I think that's 100%.
I've heard of those, I think.
So I have.
Do they wrap around all your foot?
They are. Yes.
Well, good for you. You know what? I think you're in the camp.
Thanks.
Llama footwear.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So you're.
So I'm for it. Yeah. I support that. I support that motion. Right. Bed sheets. Your words intrigue me. I am an adult. I am approaching 40 years of age. I need to spend more money on sheets. I need to be better. I owe it to myself to have more comfortable sheets. So yes. Your words intrigue me with that. Now,
it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
I have to ask a question about the toilet paper.
Yeah.
You have your option of ultra soft or ultra strong. Which are you talking about?
Great question. All right. So I'm talking to a pro here. All right. Okay. All right. I was an ultra soft guy because I was like, I just need it to be soft. But I don't need to be that soft. I need to be effective and strong.
That's the right answer. Yes, that's correct.
I need strength.
Yeah.
I need the strength of 10,000 men in my crack. Just making sure it's all gone. Because guess what? I don't want, because around noon on a work day, I don't want to be like, that's some discomfort.
Right.
What did I do wrong this morning?
It's gotten a little warm this afternoon and things are now taking a turn. So that's the thing is the ultra soft. That's a gimmick. That's bullshit, man. You don't want that stuff.
You think it's going to be that way? Yeah, you're right.
That's a gimmick, man. You don't want that because I don't need it to be fluffy. I don't want to feel like I have like I'm taking like a thin pillow down there or anything like that. Like, no, I need the job done. There is a job to do. And if I don't have a bidet, which I don't, I need to make sure that.
We probably should though, right? I don't know.
I've heard great things.
They're accessible.
They are very accessible now, right? We're not talking about, the porcelain object next to the toilet that we all had no idea when we would see a movie that took place, like a scene took place in Europe and it was in the bathroom and you were a kid and you're like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. But now they are very accessible. They are attachments that you can easily put on. And I've heard great things. Until that day comes when I'm comfortable enough in myself and in my experimentation for such an important topic, until that day, I'm going ultra strong all the way. And you are right. There is no time to be pinching pennies. Wow. If you need to be saving money, you need to save money elsewhere. Dude. It is too important. Yeah. You need to grow up.
Yeah, don't skimp there.
You need to grow up and you got to get the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for validating me. Maybe I needed that more than anything
100%, man. Like we said, it's a free therapy session. Let's see your guy with like 8 years of college and psychotherapy come up with that important question.
Yeah.
So
you give me something that I can knock down now.
So my recommendation, I'm not sure it's exactly on the same wavelength, but
by the way, this could be, we didn't preface this, but it could be movies, could be like life hacks, CDs, like whatever, anything. Something that we love in our lives that.
What are you vouching for?
That we don't know if each other is into, basically.
Okay. So certainly when in our youth, I was not a person that would call himself a reader. I actually rebelled very much against reading. I wouldn't read school books. I wouldn't read the books like we were assigned for school. I would absolutely Cliff Note it. And I would even look for summaries in Cliff Notes. I'm like, these are too long. So I was not a reader. What I did find is that eventually I have found that I have a very specific taste in books, and that's usually autobiographical stuff and people that I find interesting. So the book that I did last summer is called Do What You Want, The Bad Religion Story.
It's like, I wasn't a reader, but now I am. I did a book last summer.
I've probably read.
I read a book last year, and you're going to hear about it.
Yeah. So I read Do What You Want, The Bad Religion Story. So it's the
Oh, okay.
it's the biographical book on the band Bad Religion. Um,
Mhm.
and it is phenomenal. It is inspiring, not that you can do epic things. And for those of us that don't know, Bad Religion is a punk band. They've been around since the early 80s, and are still actually releasing music. I think they have, if I have top of my head, I think they're approaching their 18th studio album. Um, and what it really does is, I love these autobiographies or these biographical books because they humanize things that we only see on like a celebrity level. So like these guys, it makes them seem like they were just punks in the LA scene looking for something to do. They loved the energy of punk music, but they wanted to send a little bit better, like stronger, more thought out message. So things like Greg Graffin and Brett Gurewitz and what they put into their lyrics, and just kind of the adventures that they had of being, a struggling punk band, drifting off into other genres, and then realizing, oh, it's not about trying to do something different and new all the time. It's like, if we're good at one thing, let's go back and just give people new stuff. But it's okay that people have an expectation of our band and stuff like that. So they're a band that kind of embraces not putting out the same thing over and over, but they they said that they feel more comfortable when they put out an album. They're like, yeah, this is 100%. If you listen to this, this is a Bad Religion album. And so it really humanized a group of musicians that I really hold on a high pedestal. And the book keeps you in. It throws in so much tidbits over the years of different bands that they toured with, interactions. One obviously that sticks out is Dave Grohl, pre Nirvana years. That they would meet up with Dave a lot in like the DC area, I believe it was, when he was in Scream,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
things of that nature, and they just kind of go through how the Offspring got really big and Green Day got really big, but Bad Religion seemed like they were on the same trajectory, but then just it never happened for them. And so yeah, man, it's a fantastic read. It's it's by a guy named Jim Rulland. Again, this one specifically is not autobiographical, but he followed around the band, gets a lot of excerpts from all of the different members. The two guys that have been the primary songwriters, Brett and Greg, and then the other guys that have cycled through the band. And yeah, it's a fantastic story about overcoming a lot of adversity. And for those people that don't know, Greg, the lead singer, he has got his doctorate from Cornell and was also a professor at Cornell and UCLA, I believe he's done.
Ever heard of it?
And and then Brett Gurewitz had Epitaph Records, and he was running a record label while he was in this band, and that record label is responsible for Offspring Smash, which I believe is like the most successful, highest selling album of an
Dude.
independent label of all time. So it's pretty incredible stories, and a lot of the stuff that these guys went through. So that's going to be my recommendation, is simply a book, Bad Religion, Do What You Want.
Do you know what's kind of funny about that is that, like, for some reason, I think I might have always known you were into Bad Religion, and I never what didn't like intentionally not be into them, but I never really was. So I'm like, I just followed them on Spotify because I know. I mean, obviously, I know like a lot of the big songs.
Well, my love for Bad
But
Religion
I
came
mean,
very much after I had gotten
yeah,
into college and such. Really,
yeah. I mean, I remember like yeah, that was that when like American Jesus came out and stuff like that
yeah,
when
like
you were
Recipe for Hate.
when yeah
Um,
yeah
yeah, that's when they started kind of crawling into like because that was around
cool
Offspring Smash time. Um, but yeah, I mean, the mid 2000s, I started getting into them, and then after like 2010 is when I really started digging further back into their stuff and really starting to appreciate some of their lyricism and things of that nature. It's a lot of me looking up, Googling words because they use very big words for punk
yeah,
music.
dude. That's so fun,
Um,
man.
but yeah, man,
So fun getting into older bands
it's
later
hard though,
too.
dude. sometimes when people recommend a band, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should check them out. If I go on Spotify and if they have over 6 albums, I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, I'm going to listen to the dumb album first.
Yeah, I hope these first 5 are bangers.
Because I want to listen to people chronologically, but we all know that that's not really the most reasonable way to check out a band. Like, in all fairness, there's no point to
unless
it.
you're really into them. Yeah.
So,
dude, it's a hot wreck. I'm gonna put that under the hot wreck category because I'm gonna definitely listen to the music first. Because I don't think I've not. That's probably like one of those like voids in my, because I've always loved. I mean, especially like that '90s era punk or like grunge punk, like Offspring or Pennywise, all that shit. Like I've always been into. I never. I mean, I've heard Bad Religion, but I never really like listened to them. So before I read, I'm gonna do the musical journey first.
Please,
dude. Yeah, good. Love the passion. Love the passion that you're coming in with. I love that you're just authentically you.
Coming in hot.
Bringing it. All right. Let's wrap up. Like we do every episode. You guys know. All you commenters and chatters.
That's right.
Know.
It is time.
You guys know. Well, I should be the same
conversation dice.
I didn't pull out the 3 dice from last time, but yeah. So we've got a bunch of dice in here with random words, and the idea is you pick 3 of them, and maybe they'll form some kind of coherent idea.
Maybe a really depressing, sad concept like last time.
Sad war kind of shit, you know? Yeah. All right. Oh my God, this is like the exact opposite. Okay. All right. I'll put it up here, but it says future supreme plan. Wow. That's like way different than the last one. Future supreme plan. All right.
Or would it be the same if you were to roll these dice and ask Hitler what he wanted to do?
Dude. Yeah, he loved conversation dice. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. Right.
Do you think, speaking of punk, what if a new band came out today, did pop punk, and called themselves Supreme Plan instead of Simple Plan?
No, it's that Simple like, Plan coming
like way higher brow.
Yeah, Simple Plan releases their new album, slightly more mature, and it's Supreme Plan.
Yeah. It's like very adult.
I'm just an adult, and life is mediocre.
Taxes. Yeah. Don't forget your 401k investment. Like just like really like focused on adulting.
Mm-hmm. I'd download it.
Dude, Simple Plan had a place, man. Now we're on the punk thing, but I remember like, was that mid 2000s or something?
No, man, that was
like college years.
Freshman year of college is when I'm Just a Kid came out, and then
everybody had like the
Perfect
the wristband around there.
Well, what are songs they had? Perfect and I Do Anything. Yeah, that was all off one album.
Pop punk was probably one of the best shows. This will inspire me to say that now that we're on this tangent. At Colgate University, sophomore year, like real quick, like September, October, whenever it started, they brought Goldfinger in to like play inside of a church, like on the university. And like it was like my buddy Zach and I, who I am estranged from as well. I'll have to bring him on at some point. But Goldfinger played, and it's just like the Superman, Tony Hawk, and then I mean a bunch of other songs. I mean, I had the record from Columbia House Records.
Oh, there it is.
Don't tell him I still haven't paid for it. Yeah,
I saw Goldfinger. Goldfinger 3 months ago.
No way. Well, I saw a video recently where Tony Hawk came out and did the
Superman.
The Superman. He
Absolutely, man. Oh my God, what a mind blowing like slice of nostalgia for those people.
Future Supreme Plan. No wait.
Right?
Oh, wait.
Was it Future?
Did it say Supreme? Did it say Surprise?
Oh no. This is a good time to let our
surprise
to let our listeners know that Matt is actually
so edit out. We're gonna edit out the last 2 minutes. Get rid of it. Yeah.
So
here's a surprise.
It's future.
What? Future surprise plan. Surprise and plan.
What is that? Yeah.
Doesn't really work out. Have you ever been a part or received a surprise birthday party?
I have been invited to one. Yes. I went to.
I never have. I thought they're only in movies.
Yeah. In general, if I had not been to this one, I would have the exact same perception.
We wasted the good surprise on you.
All right. And so, yeah, like, a buddy of mine, I would have been 29. It was, well, I guess I'd be 28. He was being thrown a 30th surprise birthday party at a bar. And I drove from Buffalo to Syracuse because I was invited to it. And there's about 30 people, I think, that were at this bar, waiting for him in this back room, kind of like rented, area in the bar. And, but I don't know how much it counts, because in order for it to be a surprise for a birthday,
can't be 30 cars outside.
right? But it's also, how surprised can someone be on their birthday? So his girlfriend at the time threw the gathering like a month, I think, before his birthday. Like, so we had to even go like off birthday so that it could be a genuine surprise, which I actually applaud. I don't think I would have ever come up with such a concept, but that's a pretty genius way of doing it. So we celebrate a little bit early, but yeah, it was pretty incredible. He took a turn around the bar. I don't remember the explanation. I think there was like, she staged reservations at one place that all of a sudden she also staged that those got thrown out, so they couldn't go there. And so she was just going to like a makeup dinner at this like bar restaurant. So he thought that this was just like a throwaway night with his girlfriend, and then she brought him in, and it was a massive party. Like, people from, anywhere. It was in Syracuse at Sharky's, which is still there in Liverpool, and people as far as like Buffalo on my end, Albany, New York City. So she put in the legwork, and there was about 30 people that showed up for this gathering, and it went pretty well. But there wasn't like lights off and then people like crouching and then having hilarious conversations.
Yeah. It was just like, holy shit, you're here.
Yeah,
you're
like
here.
He came in and everyone was just kind of staring at him. And I'm sure some people said surprise, but yeah, it doesn't pan out the way that it does in like movies and 90s sitcoms.
I do. I mean, I feel really bad if somebody did this for me and I forgot, because that it's not a 0% chance, but I do know actually my friends. So I'll put this out there. I've been involved in a throuple for like several years. I lived with my buddy Brett and his wife Sarah for a long time. But I think like, I don't even remember, like 6 years ago, I think we were recording a podcast in Austin, like with a band, like that we would do, and it was my birthday, and I don't tell anybody it's my birthday. I think I mentioned in the last podcast, we don't do gifts. Like, that's the best gift you can give to anybody is no gifts. But they might have had like a surprise cake or something under the chair or something, and I was like, oh, and they were like, you didn't tell us it was your birthday, and I was like, I know.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, isn't there like at some point? I mean, you can appreciate a birthday, but it's like, it's not. I don't know. Maybe I'll come around to it, but I think maybe there's this wave of like when you're a kid, it's really exciting, and then all of a sudden you hit 16, whatever, 18, 21, 25, with like there's like legal shit involved, or like rental cars, or like different stuff you can do. And after that, it's like, survived another year. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's worth applause, but like it's the bare minimum for me is to make it another year, and it's like, okay, yeah, thanks, yeah, I appreciate it, but maybe I'm coming around. Maybe I'm feeling 40. I deserve a surprise party.
Huh.
I deserve a surprise party, everybody.
You're hearing that correct.
Yeah.
If you're a friend or family member.
Yeah.
I'm
into it. Or not into it, whatever.
You know what?
Just like, I'd like to be in on, like, watch one IRL in person. That'd be great. And if I have been a part of one that I forgot, I'm sorry. A happy belated birthday
to whomever it was.
It's great. It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. It's right. It's maybe not necessarily the celebration, and that you want it to be about you, but the way I see it is it's a reason to get a bunch of people together, and that's kind of our situation, is that we're trying to reconnect because we didn't even take advantage of those reasons, like saying like meet up for a birthday or something of that nature. I mean,
I know.
I mean, I never got down to Austin. I just vividly remember trying to block out time and being like, I should really go visit Matt, look at flights, see what kind of things were, but financial reasons, for work reasons, for whatever reason or another, it just never happened. One time when you were visiting home, you came out to see me in Buffalo. That was probably
I forgot about that.
10 years ago.
You know what? Yeah, we said 5 times, make it 6. How we've seen each other. I forgot about that one.
That was like 8 or 9 years ago. And what did we do? We just went to the brewery. I think we saw.
Yeah, that was fun.
We saw
Zemgus Girgensons, Buffalo Sabres icon.
Zemgus Girgensons, wasn't it?
Yeah. Buffalo Sabres hockey player.
So we saw him at the brewery. Played some bubble hockey, and called it an evening. But I mean, the important thing to do on birthdays is give yourself a little pat on the back and that you did make it, and be like, yo, if your way of celebrating is being like, yo, I'm going to get that sick cheeseburger, or like, I'm going to buy a 6-pack and I'm going to watch, season 4 of The Simpsons. And that's what I'm going to do today. Like, then fucking go do that.
Own it.
Yeah.
Fucking
be like, yo, I
love it.
Yo, I crushed this birthday. Like, I nailed it.
That's great advice. Yeah. That's great. You know what? You got me inspired about that. I got to tell you, I'm in on that.
Yeah.
It's like,
doesn't have to be extravagant.
Part of it is like, and you're right, because I wouldn't do that for myself. I would never be like, hey, have all my friends or whatever that, because I would never invite any of that, because I don't keep up with that. But if somebody ever did that, it would make me excited, because I don't do that.
Right.
I'm not good at it. It's like, hey, thanks for doing something for me that I'm not good at.
Right. That I would never do for myself. Ooh, like that's
did I just come around on this? Holy shit.
Maybe.
Are we growthing?
Maybe that's a growth thing.
Wow. Holy shit. All right. Well, I guess we can end it on that. A little growth. And I don't know if we want to have a tease for the next episode. I know we talked a little bit about, do you want to, I would like to start the next, if you want to.
Okay.
We talked about SNES controllers and like that kind of thing. I kind of want to rewatch and see if it holds up. The Wizard. And maybe we do a debrief on it next episode.
100%.
Are you into that? Because you remember The Wizard.
Absolutely, obviously. Folks. This is the gateway for Fred Savage.
It was like the gaming movie. From 1990 or whenever it was, 91 or something.
Right.
Like
You're talking Beau Bridges, like one of my top 3 bridges.
Wasn't Christian Slater? It was the brother or the brother of
the family dynamic was very confusing in that movie.
Yeah.
And California, and it was
because I remember in my head it being very cool.
It was a walking advertisement for NES. It's incredible. That's just indicative of the days. That'd be like if there was a movie premiere. That'd be if there was a movie called like PlayStation, and it was literally just about a kid playing PlayStation for 2 hours. Like that's what this was.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to we'll throw this in. We even missed a couple other segments. This is good. We just talk. We're getting there. Man, look at us. It's like we're just hanging out like friends would.
Yeah, not weird. Bad. Not talking about bad stuff, at all. Yeah.
We're not the worst.
We're not the worst.
We're getting better.
We were the worst. Now we're slightly not the worst.
Yeah. So let's do. So, hey, everybody. Hey, comment section. This week, before you get to episode 3, rewatch The Wizard. I don't even know which streaming service it's on. I'll pay for it. I pay for Slippers. I'll pay for The Wizard.
Yep.
I know there's a site that you can kind of look all this stuff up on.
Let's see.
But just watch it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's a gem. I don't know. It's a pretty generic title name. Are we gonna make sure? Okay, 1989.
That's gonna be hard.
So yeah, make sure that it's nothing other than 1989. So that's right. It's been over 23 years since this movie came out. Let me see here.
Well over.
And folks, you can get it on Amazon Prime for $3.99. Also available on YouTube TV, Google Play, Vudu. So $3.99. It's 100% worth it. If
it is, dude, get into it. Let's spend 30 minutes of the next episode talking about this. And we'll hit the other segments. I'm kind of pumped. Like, I like this as an idea too, like revisiting stuff.
Absolutely.
We never watched this together. I know
No,
that.
100%.
You probably saw it with your older brothers, I'm guessing, or maybe I don't know.
Definitely.
I saw it at some point, and I think I rewatched it at some point. But I think I want to kind of connect on something retro nostalgia and see if it holds up.
Sure.
I'm afraid.
I'm so scared.
I'm so scared. All right, dude.
All right, man.
Be well.
Same.
Comment section. Thank you for listening to
Strangely familiar. Yep. Thank you.
It's getting more familiar.
That's strange.
And we will check you out next time.
Adios, turd nuggets.
Peace.
Later.
It's the age of